Joining us now, former Bolton West Ham England manager, good friend of talkSPORT Breakfast, Sam Allardyce. Morning, Sam.
Morning, Sam.
Good morning, boys. How are we?
Yeah, really good, thanks, Sam. So would you fancy that, a little spell at the bridge?
Yeah, Chad. I'll fly back from Dubai tomorrow for that. It's in my mind, but get me there.
The problem is, Sam, what would you have to do when you got to Stamford Bridge? What needs doing?
Sort the defence out.
Yeah.
Sort the defence out, Jeff. I mean, it's the worst defending I've seen in the Premier League for a long, long time, all season. Now, people see that as a negative punt. I mean, there was a big thing on Monday Night Football about Manchester United, about how many shots they're conceding, and they look at the top teams like Liverpool and of course Manchester City and Arsenal, and they're the best defensive records. It's a simple mathematical equation. You win the league if you have the best defence, not the best attack. The best attack gives you the opportunity to get the points in the end, but the defensive side of it wins you the league in the end. And the defending has been ignored for many years now, and I've never seen such bad defending for a lot. Considering the quality of the Premier League and the money that's spent, the quality of defending in the Premier League is worse, or has been bad for the last 2 or 3 years. So I actually question the coaching of defending these days, because there's such a big emphasis on the quality of football and playing the right way that people seem to have shunned one of the most important things, and that is when you haven't got the ball, you have to be very good at winning it back, and you have to be very good at not conceding goals if you want to win anything, or certainly if you want to stay in the Premier League. If you're fighting at the bottom, your defensive record has to be better than the bottom 6.
Well, Sam, I'm going to take you to the other end of the table then. Judging on what you've said, I've gone on record as saying I think arguably the 2 most important players for Arsenal, for example, as talented players as they've got, I think the 2 centre-backs are arguably the most important players. Bearing that in mind, who's got the best defence out of the top 3, Arsenal, Liverpool or Manchester City, do you think?
I think Liverpool at the moment, I think they've got Liverpool and Arsenal are just a bit better than Manchester City, which is unusual for me to say, because they've been so good for probably they've won 3 on the trot and going for 4. So certainly in the last 3 years they've had the best one, like I mean. So it's without any question a combination. This is not detracting from the style of football that you play with the ball. This is just about the responsibility of the team. I saw a thing with Jamie Carragher about the fact that Manchester United concede these goals, and it isn't just Maguire and his defence; it's his midfield and his forwards that are not running back, that are not tracking back, that are not getting back in the pocket, are not shutting or not pressing from the front. And it stood out. It stood out massively the other day against Fulham, and Fulham just had so much room to play through Manchester United. So it's not a difficult equation to shore up a defence to make it better. Tuchel did it when he went to Chelsea and they won the Champions League. It's the only thing he did when he took over from Frank. He sorted the defence out. They were solid all the way through the season then, and they were very difficult to break down, even though we won 5-2 at West Brom, by the way, but never mind that one.
Let's move on to West Ham, Sam. Great result for David Moyes last night against Brentford. You know how demanding those West Ham fans can be. Will that be enough to get the hard to please Hammers fans off David's back?
They've had it. Well, listen, who as a manager has not had fans on the back at West Ham? Can you tell me one?
No.
No. Well, there you go. So you can go back to all the managers at West Ham, whether they be good, bad, or indifferent, whether they be former West Ham players, whether they be British managers, whether they be foreign managers. Can't remember his name now. Pellegrini.
Yeah.
Had a difficult time. Yeah, and he'd won the league at Manchester City. It's a phase you go through at West Ham if you're on a bad run like West Ham were, because they hadn't won since December. So the squad at West Ham, just at this moment in time, has been built slowly and surely and brilliantly by David Sullivan and David Moyes. They compete in Europe. Is it the 3rd season on the trot?
Mm-hmm.
I think it is. And they're still in Europe, and they won the Cup last year. And they had a bit of a difficult time in the league last year because of the European competition. And that is a big ask on a squad like West Ham. We've got playing in Europe every week. every other week, and then playing in the Premier League. And that's what they're just getting used to now and building the squad to cope with it. So last year in the league, they struggled, but they won the Europa Cup. This year, they are 8th in the league and still in Europe. So it's good progress again, but a sticky patch that David has had for whatever reason. You don't have to ask him that, he'll give you the explanation. But the quality of the team has grown. This talk about negative football is not there because West Ham are conceding too many goals. So David has changed his style because David would not like conceding goals, believe you me. So he has tried to open up the quality of player he's got, and we can see the quality of Bowen and Emerson and people like that, you know.
Well, you touched on there, Sam.
Again next year, try and win. We'll see how far they go.
You touched on it there, Sam. I think it's clear. I think it's clearly obvious. I think how important guys like Paquetá are to David's team, and also one that you mentioned there, Jared Bowen,
yes,
who hadn't scored for a few games. You know, obviously hat trick last night. He hadn't scored for 7. He's back in amongst the goals. Interesting one for you, Sam. Would you be taking Jared Bowen to the Euros?
Well, I think he's playing up front on his own at the moment, Alini.
Yes.
I don't think he's playing from the wide. I think he's playing up front. So it shows you how flexible he is and how clever he is as a footballer, because he can score goals from wide left, wide right, or actually down the middle. So one thing West Ham need, and they've tried it for the last few years and it hasn't worked, they haven't managed to find that centre forward. So they still need to do that. They still need to go and spend the big money and find the centre forward that probably everybody is looking for. But you know, until they do that, I don't think they'll actually progress again to what West Ham would want, and that's to try and get in the top 4, which is a massive task. But that's what the West Ham fans will want. That's what they see, and that you have to try and please them the best way you can. But Moisey, unbelievable job. Nobody else could do as good as he's done.
Just finally, Sam, what do you make of what's been going on at Everton?
Oh. It's not so much what's happening. It's just the rules, Jeff. You know, the rules. What are the rules? Who is implementing the rules? What do the rules mean? How much do football clubs have to spend to defend themselves because of the rules? And why do we have them? I don't know. If I was a billionaire and I wanted to buy a football club for my pleasure, for my money, I want to buy it. I don't want to be restricted by what I want to invest. Now, I know that everybody looks out about being fair and looking at the fairness of it. Yes, I get that. But at the end of the day, we've been living with football until these rules came in for year on year on year on year. And does it detract from being able to find the best players in the world? That's one of the most important things that the Premier League has to keep up, is finding the best players and certainly the best coaches, and they've certainly got that in the world of football to keep up the appetite for the world to keep watching. So it's a great entertainment platform. So Everton, you know, why do it in season? Why not do it out of season? What's going to happen to Man City now? What's going to happen to Nottingham? They have to do that before the end of the season now. They can't just punish Everton and then not punish, if somebody else is being investigated, not punish them before the end of the season. It's totally and utterly unfair.
Yeah.
So, you know, where do we go from here?
It's a mess, Sam, isn't it? Hey, Sam, hope the weather stays good for you.
Hey, and by the way, I haven't watched Soccer Saturday since you left.